One's a former NFL star turned esports coach.
But I was getting the stink eye from my wife. She's like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing."
And one's a dad who can't stop playing Rocket League.
These kids these days, they're like, blah, 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 blah. We're used to jump and run.
Together, they welcome you to Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge.
Welcome to Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge. We're having a fantastic, Hump Day Wednesday going on. So if this is your first time coming into the Gamers Lounge, this is a show where we talk about video games, we talk about esports, we talk about all the culture surrounding this space, which is a big space and growing and a big industry now in the last 10, 15 years. And we got a great guest today that can expunge on talking about how the industry is growing in different ways out there. And so it's going to be fun today. And we got the, Shogun. We got a couple more episodes left of Shogun, so we're gonna talk about episode 7. Got a lot of stuff going on. You're getting down to the season finale now, and things are getting very, very interesting for the people in Osaka, or people trying to get to Osaka, and with their heads on their bodies and things of that nature. And then we'll talk about game releases of the week, stuff coming out, and big drops, and also a nice little quick hitting headline about a fighter in a game that I didn't know was the meta. She was a baller in the game, but is not no more. We'll talk about that when we get to quick hit news bite. But until then, so I'm checking with everybody. I just had a nice chill weekend. Not much going on for myself. Rico and John, I know John will not be here today, but Rico might come in hot, as sometimes they do. But for myself, man, I just had another chill weekend here down in Texas. Was able to catch a little bit. I don't know if everybody, I hope if you are a big fan of DreamHack, if you didn't go, hope you caught some of the tournaments that went on during DreamHack weekend this past weekend. I know I did catch a few things, and I caught something I'm gonna talk about later. The best thing I seen on social media, Mr. Tommy Pham. And if you've been a consistent guest of the show or in the chat, you know who Tommy Pham is and what he has been doing for the last several years with his foundation for his son, Raiden's journey and Fight for Rare. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, that is about all that I've been going on. Waiting, gotta go, be back in Lincoln next week. We got an esports summer camp going on, which is going to be high school kids and maybe some middle school kids school kids like we had last year. That's going to basically come into the building and learn a little bit about being a content creator, planning out an event, and learning how to be a better, esports player overall, and learn the job skills and all the other fun things you learn being in our space. So with that being done there, so I hope everyone is ready to tune in. We got a good show for you. We got a good guy coming. I'm about to bring in here in here right now. He is the CEO of the UEL, which is the Ultimate Endgamers League, a league that I've been a part of for several years now, and super excited about what's coming up and ready to talk with my man Titus Walker. Me bring him in here. What's up, man? How you doing, Titus?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm just as you probably heard, just chilling down here in Texas. We got a little rain going on right now, but it's raining at 80 degrees, so I'm super happy
Yeah, yeah.
that it's
It,
still above 50 degrees when the rain hits the ground. So that's about it, man. So what's up, man? What's been good with you? And give us a refresher real quick before we go into all the heavy stuff. A refresher of the UEL and the competition side of it, and and how teams and players are, I say, set up to get the league started.
yeah. So the UEL is set up as the UFC of gaming is what we like to call it. But essentially, it's taking two teams that are competing against each other to become the ultimate gamers, which we call the end gamers. So if my team's playing your team, we're going to play against each other in all five genres of games. So fighting games, sports games, shooting games, racing games, and strategy games. We're going to play where each game is only worth 1 point, and you're playing a total of 33 different games. Person with the most points wins. So it's like a gauntlet of games where
Mm,
you're really trying to see who's the better gamer as a whole.
right. And when you say gamer, it's just that part of it where you pick up are you better with a controller? Are you better with mouse and keyboard? Or are you better with both? Well, what's your best,
Yeah,
basically? You're
exactly. The
asking.
thing is, some games you can only play mouse and key, so you got to learn how to play that. Some games you can play controller, and so there's a lot of players that play mixed. They'll play
Right.
Apex on a controller, but they'll play Fortnite on mouse and keyboard. So
Yeah.
it's a very interesting thing to see how it's developed.
Yeah, I mean that's somewhere I always I look at myself and I'm like I'm getting I was ambidextrous. I say that with consoles because I remember PlayStation and Xbox was a thing in my locker room where the guys were like, "Man, I'm not playing you. You only on Xbox." I'm like, "So?" I'm like, "It don't matter. It's like it's the same controllers. They got same amount of buttons. The buttons might be labeled or in a little different area on the controller, but it's the controller. Don't be a big baby about it." And want to compete, you know. So it's just yeah, that's the part I say I've definitely delved into that and understanding how that can then transition over into making sure people are more competitive against each other because they're like got that fear in their head, like man, I don't play on mouse and keyboard a whole lot, you know, so they have that little worry come in. So I like that part of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah. And I mean, nowadays, like a lot of the games you can play with a controller. There's only a few games really that I can think of where you can't use a controller and mouse and key.
yeah,
So it really just depends. But you see a lot of people kind of cross over into different areas based on the game, and it's a really interesting thing to watch because a lot of times people think mouse and keyboard is like the elite way of
yes,
doing it.
I got several
But
friends that think it's like the PC master race or whatever. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
come
exactly,
come on.
exactly. But we have a lot of players that play on a controller and they are dominant. So it's not that's not always the case. It really just depends. For us, it's all about like work ethic and attitude, right? Like
Y-
you're
yes,
you're gonna play just like in any sport, you're gonna play a lot and lose a lot. Can you bounce back, right? And that
yep.
that that attitude is gonna be key because if you learn from the mistakes you made in the last game, then you
Mhm.
can implement a better path forward in the next game.
100%, 100%. So, I know you already was on the show before, but something I gotta re-ask you because maybe some more information from your past comes out. I don't know. So, tell the audience in the chat and everybody watching the show, what is your gamer origin story? How old were you? Who was the person that got you playing, and what was the game, basically?
So I was 4 years old. My dad got me into gaming, and it was Mortal Kombat.
Ooh,
So yeah, and
oh yeah.
it was Mortal Kombat to me was like I still love it because of that like
Hmm.
history has something special for Mortal Kombat for me. But it was fun because we would play that in Soul Calibur and
So fighting games, gotcha.
Yeah, Soul Calibur was a little bit later on in my origin story, but still, it was those were the two games that really had an impact on me. And it's crazy because growing up, I kind of stopped playing fighting games, but it was something my dad was really into, and so it was always interesting because he's a grown man. I'm 4, 5, 6 years old, and yet I'm able to compete with him in this game, and that was
Right.
always so. It was the only thing that I could compete with him in, which was always like it was an interesting thing because as a kid,
Hmm.
you know you can't really do anything where you guys you're equal, until you
Yeah.
get into this arena. And that's kind of the great thing. The beauty of gaming now is it's everybody's equal, right? It's
Hmm.
really based on how hard you're willing to work to learn different things in the game,
Yep.
and then what skill sets you have outside of the game to be able to implement into the game. So that's the beauty of gaming.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because like one of those, you have a moment where you take a week off, man. That's a long time. When you
Hmm.
haven't touched the game, and then you're catching up to everybody, and you keep, if it's work or if it's vacation or whatever reason, it gets you off the game, PC or console. Then you got to do some major catching up to everybody else, and get you back on that level that you were competing on. So let's get
Yeah,
into oh, go.
there's two parts to the gaming too, because it's muscle memory, right? Remembering
Yep.
all the buttons and how to press them and all that stuff like that. But then you have the technical side of like mentally, like you have to remember both things. You can't you may remember what you're supposed to do,
Hmm.
but the muscle memory isn't there to be able to accomplish it when you're not doing it consistently. So yeah, it is an interesting thing to gaming is so complex when you really break it down for what it is. But it's still so fun. It's like
Yeah,
it really is a sport, and that's why
it
I
is.
love it.
It is. It is. Because like especially in fighting games that you talked about with your gamer origin stories, fighting game is the one game, the two, or I say the one game or genre where you have to set up a combination by doing certain things. And if you can't remember those combinations or those setup moves to get you to the combination, then you're gonna have a problem. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
because I've been in that situation. I'm like, man, I haven't played long enough with Eddie Gordo, and I have to do. I'm like, dang, I gotta find that block move, or I gotta find this move to get me to that move to then have a perfect combo. Then keep reusing it over and over again. So it's like that time off sometimes gets you either, like you said, adjusting real fast, or remember going back in your memory bank. It's like, all right, what's the button and what's the timing? What's the distance I got to be far away? Because it might be a range attack, it might be a close quarters attack. So you're like, oh, I need to remember this. Now let's go. What's
yeah.
going on?
Fighting games is all patterns and memorization,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah,
Some spatial awareness, but definitely patterns and memorization for sure.
yeah, all day, every day. So one thing you mentioned, you described when you first introduced the league to everyone at the start of the talk here. What How are the games picked? I think everybody would like to know that, because I know
Mhm.
how the games are picked.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how are the games picked of the wheel
So we
weekend of playoffs and stuff?
y- yeah, so we select the games based on a couple different factors. One, we want to be able to we try to find games that have a pretty easy access point. So it's not like difficult to get into the game. It's not a whole lot of loading to get into that game, because we really need to get from one to the next to the next to the next to the next, right? And so first we categorize it by genre, so fighting, sports, shooting, racing, strategy. Then from there we go into different platforms, and we look for, a lot of times, like we'll go into top 50 fighting games of 2024 or whatever, right? And then we get that list, we start playing through them, and we look for different concepts. Like some of them will be based on there's different types of fighting games. You have, more of the pattern style fighting games, and then you have more movement style fighting games, like platformers, spacing, like Super Smash Brothers, like so we wanna really encapsulate all skills of fighting games into one category, and that becomes like the perfect mix of games to be able to encapsulate the best fighter, right? Because fighting games have so many different skills in the different styles of fighting games. And the same with shooting games. You know, shooting games, some of them, like example would be like Valorant and Halo. They're both shooting games, but they are very different. Halo is much more about motion. It's much more like you're moving, you're jumping, you're tossing grenades to keep people close or far to you. Like all of those things become the game of Halo, whereas Valorant is pretty much just aiming and then knowing where your opponent's going to be, right? Like understanding the map, it's map awareness, and then aiming down the sights, not moving at all and trying to stay completely still, putting yourself in the perfect position, perfect angle, and firing, right? So those are two very, very different shooting games, but they encapsulate what a shooter does, like who a shooter is, right? From a shooting game perspective. So we try and find like this perfect mix of games that will encapsulate the best kind of well-rounded player for that particular genre. And then we find games that are cool. We're going to be playing them for the next 6 months. So I want to find games that people are going to enjoy, new ones, maybe some old ones, new ones, exciting games that over the next 6 months, they're going to be happy that we picked this and put it on the wheel. So a lot of times we discover like a really, really cool game that just hasn't been put in the spotlight. And then we help kind of put that in the spotlight. And that's become a big part of what we do.
Yeah, having those games like Litmus Gate. I remember when I
Yeah,
saw
let me
that on
see.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I know this game, and I was like, how did you find a competition outside of it, in here in this game? And then seeing Friday the 13th and Dead
Yep.
by Daylight, and I'm
Yep.
like, in my head, I'm like, the wheels are turning. Like, what did you do, Titus? You're like the mad scientist. I like it. Bring in a
Yeah.
game that has zero competition in it, other than if you're playing against the computer to get yourself out alive in
Yeah.
both those games.
Yep.
That's it. But there is no red team, blue team going here and having call outs and all that. But now it is
Yeah. I mean, that competition side, I mean, the competitive side comes from two people going against each other to achieve a goal, right? It's
yeah,
same goal or opposite goals. So that's really all competition is. So a lot of times in gaming, competition's kind of been reduced down to this like there has to be these different things or these different components in order to make it an esport. When in reality, anything can be an esport. It's testing skills in a digital environment, right? And testing those skills against other people, that becomes the sport. And so we try and find games that are just exciting, like the Limnus Gates, the like you said, the Friday. We have some really really cool ones coming for season 9, so I'm super excited about that. So yeah, just finding things that are exciting, fun to play, and that we can create a competition around, not necessarily looking for the game that has been built for competition, but just finding games that we can create that competition around.
gotcha. So that's huge. Having the competition where everybody kind of feels on that competitive level, and then understand like, okay, this is something I can handle. I can figure out later.
Yeah.
And be a part of it and be competitive in the game, stuff like that. So, all right, what's your game of choice? When you get home or you at the facility and you like, all right, I'm gonna get a quick game in before the competition start, or if I'm gonna jump in like a competition we've had, like what we did that one time when I was there for the
Yeah, yeah,
weekend. What
yeah.
is your game of choice?
So my game of choice is still I don't like the new Mortal Kombat, so I wouldn't say that Mortal Kombat. I would say Mortal Kombat, the last Mortal Kombat, definitely I still enjoy. But the games that I play the most are like Fallout, storyline games where you get to make the choice, where it has a little bit of realism to it, and it's just like um, just fun. Like I really enjoy those. I'm super competitive in life,
Yeah,
but in the video game, I'm just not super competitive. I just like to win.
yeah, y'all call that. I know in the UEL space you call that the cheese. Give him the
Yeah,
cheese.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I remember when 300 said that to me the first time. I said, huh? I said, talking about what you say? The cheese, man. You got to just get to the cheese. I'm like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I like it. I like that.
It's like finding a quick way to
To
win the game.
Yep.
Of course, like legally, not doing anything like
Right.
no
Nothing, no
cheating.
hacking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but finding a quick way to win the game where you don't have to be in that situation like a fighting game player. You're sitting down and you forget a combo. Well, if your combos that you built out were so simple that it's just like square triangle, square triangle, square triangle, square. Like they'll
Right.
you pick the combos that are so easy to remember that it's like, okay, I'm just gonna master these, and then once I've mastered these, I can move on to other stuff. So it's like that quick mastery of a game where
Hmm.
because the goal is just to win, right? So you don't want to spend 40 hours on one game and only an hour on any others when you know you have 33.
Exactly. You gotta. I remember practicing a few times my team, Ghost Team Ghost, and we stay on the game for like 5 minutes and then move on. I'm like, oh, I say now it makes. I say I get it. I see why. Because in what a weekend of a competition is what 6 hours, but you play 8 to 10 games, 12 games, 14 games in
Right.
that session. So knowing that during the Monday, Tuesday, Friday before um, Saturday or Sunday's games, you got to get a lot of game time in. And so the only way to do that is, like you said, break it down to small and micro doses of the game at a time to find out what that cheese play or button combination is. So
Right. Right.
very big
Yeah.
there. So what about with your friends? What's that game of choice when you got your boys or whomever is playing with you, you be like, all right, let's get on this. What's that game?
The most recent game that we were playing was PGA Tour. Um,
Oh, okay. Golf. Really?
Yeah, golf. Yeah, super. It seems super boring, but we had a lot of fun playing it for sure. Um, and otherwise, like since that's probably like a month or two ago. We haven't really been able to play much lately, just with all that's going on. Like it's just there's so much going on in the league right now that it's like chaotic trying to keep it all together. But yeah, PGA was the last one.
My headsets just went crazy on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, there we go. Okay, I got you now. I'm like, you're talking, answering that question. My headset's just kind of glitched out. So repeat yourself real quick for my
Yeah,
benefit.
yeah. So PGA Tour is the last one. We haven't been able to play it in a while, but yeah, but that's the last one that really like we all would get together, we'd all play it and just talk trash. Like it was a good time.
Gotcha, gotcha. So yeah, you got when you with your buddy, it's like golf.
I I think your headset went out again because I can't hear you. So I'm not able to hear you, but I see the question on the thing, so I'll go ahead and answer it. But yeah, the core mission and vision for the UEL. Right now, our mission is to get the gamers paid. Right now, we know that in the gaming space, a good like 99.9% of the money goes towards the developers and publishers, and a lot of the esports space is doing all of the promoting for these developers and publishing, keeping the games alive. A lot of the games that last the longest right now are any games with a community. The community is everything in gaming right now. And so a lot of times though what happens is people like me and like you will go out and kind of build on a community and create it and become like this, the Call of Duty community or 2K community or whatever. And then eventually the developer kind of catches wind of it and they'll kind of pull out a lot of the power from you as a community. And so that makes it really tough for pro gamers, pro game organizers, or anybody else involved in that to really, really get their fair share. And I say fair, but it's fair for the developers to collect all the money because they earned it. They built the game. It's theirs, right? But that's why the goal for us is to build a community of our own That way we can pay the gamers their fair share, and we can create a sustainable environment for esports to be able to grow and thrive. And so that's the goal and mission of the Ultimate Endgamers League, and we're doing a really good job of that. I mean, season 9's right around the corner. We had the finals for season 8 in at Capital One Arena. It's for $100,000, and then season 9 is for $1 million. And that starts actually this year after the finals. So we're super excited.
Well, this thing is like taking control of everything, or somebody over there doing it.
I hear you now.
Okay. Oh man, so it's weird. My headset's like on its own thing right now. So thank you to Alfie for jumping in and following the channel here. And hopefully my microphone will stop trying to take over the stream here. Or not my microphone, my headset. My headset is like doing weird things. So creepy. It's like I'm in the Matrix right now. Somebody's pushing buttons.
So same Mike went out, I'm pretty sure, but I got the question there. So luckily you put the questions up. That way I can answer them. So yeah, what sets the Ultimate Endgamers League apart? So clearly, I mean, you have the whole approach of the Ultimate Endgamers League is
Hmm.
what sets it apart. We have all 5 competitive genres of games in a single match. So fighting games, sports games, shooting games, racing games, and strategy games, where no game is the most important. Every game is equal value, and my
Hmm.
team is playing your team just to see who can win the most of these games. There's 33 different games played all at once in competition with the same, like, so I'm I got to be good at everything,
Right.
just good at gaming as a whole. And so that really sets us apart. I mean, it's something that you're starting to see some people doing. Like you're seeing it in AT&T is doing something like it with the
Hmm.
Annihilators Cup. I
Yeah,
know
I
the
heard it. I
World
saw that one last year. Yep.
Yeah, the World Cup is they're doing it with teams, so it's not the same. It's not the same, but it's kind of getting there. So we're
Right.
seeing the world is kind of opening up to this idea of a holistic gamer, a well-rounded gamer, instead of just a single game being the focus. And I think that that's the path forward for esports. If we continue to make it about a single game, then we'll continue to just be at the developer's whim. But if
Yeah.
we create an environment where the game really doesn't matter, it's about gamers and gaming, um, then we can create something that's sustainable, something that can be like basketball in the NBA. That
Right.
that can't exist. The NBA can't exist if somebody owns the basketball. Period. Like it can't. It says they can control everything you do
Yep.
with that basketball, and so we can't have esports when somebody owns the actual item that we're playing on, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's that path forward that'll set us apart and help us move forward.
Yeah, and because yeah, we've seen that in some games, some particularly FGC. Those
Yeah.
communities are very big, and the games, obviously, the game developers and the publishers have full on control, and they could just
Yep.
stop the league as we know,
Yep.
has gone on recently in the past. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
been happening a
yeah,
lot. And I remember when I was saying it in 2019, it was like everybody was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Come on! Like they're not gonna just allow you to have unlimited profit on their intellectual property. Like it's just not gonna happen. At some point, they're
right,
gonna step in, and when they do, what are you gonna do? Who could possibly do a better Tekken tournament than Tekken? Like they
correct,
literally control the game. They can literally put an ad in the game that says, "Hey, we're doing a Tekken tournament." You can't do that, right? So there's
no,
no way
right.
you're beating that. So it's obviously it can't be about the game. It has to be about gamers and gaming.
Yes, 100%. And so talking about we talked about the gamers, but then also it's the other side, it's the fans, the audience.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what are some of your things that you've been engaging with the audience and to keep them invested in the league and in activities and other events that you got coming up?
Yeah, so we created the EGI, the Endgamers Invitational. So it's a way for them to be able to participate, become a professional gamer if they want to,
Hmm.
or just log a score and see, how well they do in the within this environment of like trying to be the holistic gamer. Of course, we do predictions on stream to keep
Yeah.
them engaged and keep them paying attention to what's going on. We keep track of all the stats, which we have a lot of new stuff coming out, but we try and build storylines around
Hmm.
everything that's happening. So we have a few shows that we do that kind of let people know who those gamers are, and how they're practicing, and what makes them a special tier of gamer. And so we've done a fairly good job keeping everybody engaged, and most of the time it's gamers themselves that are engaged.
Right.
And so that's exciting. We're definitely reaching the audience we're going after, which is the gamers themselves.
Yeah. And saying one part of that is goes into my next question here. Is so what is the role uh, do for what is your social media role and then your content creation play in the UEL's like overall strategy of how that goes out to fans?
Yeah, so we use different social media for different things.
Mhm.
So our Instagram, for example, is much more like glamorous. It's more for the players to be
Mhm.
able to like share, to be able to like showcase, like, look what I'm doing, and make them look like just absolute rock stars.
Right.
Because that is, that's something that other sports do really well. They being able to tell that storyline. It's what made the NBA what it is. Without
Mhm.
Magic and Bird, then that storyline. Where's the NBA today, right? Without Michael
Right.
Jordan, and so it's like all of those storylines, those people created the reason that then people paid attention to sports, and then
Mhm.
them paying attention to sports made it so that then their bloodline after them paid attention to sports, because they remember watching sports with dad or granddad or
Right.
whatever. And
Yep.
so we have to kind of create that same environment, and we think the glamour side of it is important for Instagram, just because that's kind of how that's the role of Instagram. Facebook is normally more like events, or letting people know. It's more kind of geared around like parents. We know that parents, grandparents, they're
But more
more on.
informational wise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. um Twitter is just kind of a chaotic nonsense
Yes.
post, that type of stuff.
It's an argument. That's what
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is. It's an argument.
Exactly. And then Discord is really where most of our pros live. So that's where we tell them all their information. We keep everything. It's kind of our organization portion is Discord. Is where pretty much everybody in leadership operates. We use Discord more than we use email, really. So
Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that's the social media part of whatever is a business is a vital part of the business these days. In the last, I say 24 years, pretty much since the 2000s. It's right at the start of the 2000s when we go back to what was that MySpace,
hmm
and then Twitter came along, and then Facebook came along, and then everybody else just joined in
yeah,
the fray. And if you manage it right, you use it the proper way, like you said, like you're showing, like Instagram's for this, X is for this,
yeah.
Twitch, YouTube are for this, Kick is for this. So every platform, you just gotta learn the proper way how to use it to make sure you get the maximization of your use out of it, basically.
Exactly. It's the
Yeah.
results you're good. You want to get there's certain results you're going to get out of some things. Like, you're just not going to get some things out of Instagram or Facebook. It's just not going to
Hmm.
happen. It doesn't matter how much money you spend or what you put into it. You're just not going to get those results. So
Yeah.
it's just paying attention to that and making sure that you're being smart about it.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
all
Exactly.
all the time, all the time. So in terms of the players, so how do you handle player recruitment to make sure you keep attracting the top talent? Because that's what something we kind of talked about a few days ago
Yeah.
in the last week about getting talent, but then also that talent showcasing who they are,
Yeah.
basically.
So our goal has always been that because we're pioneering something new.
Hmm.
Our goal hasn't been like the top talent in the outside environment, because most of that top talent actually has a hard time, not saying they can't, but they have a
Hmm.
hard time cutting it in our league,
Correct.
because it's kind of like boxing and UFC. Like UFC can step in the ring with a boxer and they'll hold their own, right?
Right.
A boxer is never going to get in the ring with a UFC person and
No.
do any type of damage, right? So it's like we're in different arenas. It's not to say one's better than the other. It's just two different things.
It's
And
different, right?
so,
It is different.
and a lot of times it's because like to be good at one game requires you to kind of just memorize the patterns of that game. It's not even, it's like what is the meta, and then you have to
Hmm.
memorize that and kind of understand how to tweak it every now and then. It's not like with what we're doing, everything's a tweak. You can't rely on that person to act the way you think they're going to act in game
Yeah.
because they don't play based on a meta, right? And you can't expect them to move a certain way because they don't care about moving that way, right? So it is
Mm.
it is a very different environment. You have to be able to adapt to everything that's coming in front of you. On top of the fact that you're going to have to get used to like bouncing from, whereas now you could sit and practice Valorant for 10 hours to get ready for a Valorant tournament, right? If
Right.
you just play Valorant before one of our tournaments, you're going to get in and you're going to lose 32 games. And then finally Valorant comes up and you're going to lose that too because you're so in your
Right.
head, like you're so like you've never had to experience this type of thing. And we've had it happen so many times where these pro gamers, they come in from a certain game, they get in and then they lose in their game, the game that they were definitely supposed to
Yeah.
win, they lose in. But a lot of that comes from the chaos that happens, kind of
And
like
it's pure
all those,
chaos.
yeah, the ability to adapt, like the whole, like I'm not big into this, but I recently we've been we've approached a few of the phase people,
Hmm.
and I watched the thing they had with phase phase banks, I guess, and the other guy from like 100 Thieves. I don't
Yeah.
sorry, it's bad, but I don't know, I'm not super in that world, but
Correct.
um
Correct. That's
they
okay.
play each other and one of them's a pro Call of Duty player, the other one's not a pro and never has been a pro, right?
Hmm.
But the one that's never been a pro wins and absolutely destroys the one that was a pro Call of Duty player. And they when he's going through the reasons why, he has all these different reasons and they
Hmm.
all make sense. It's like, oh, the frame rate was really bad, hasn't played on a controller, was playing on a console that doesn't play console, like all those different things, they all make sense. But that's kind of like the difference
Yeah.
between a UEL person and not. A UEL person is going to adapt to all of that. It doesn't matter
Correct.
what they've been playing on. It doesn't matter how they've been playing it. It doesn't matter whether it's keyboard, mouse, controller. They're going to adapt to it all because they've had to in order to be successful. So it's like, oh, my controller's not working, but we're in game. I got to play keyboard and mouse now. And then they're still going to be able
Hmm.
to dominate, right? In the pro environment, that just shuts everything down. Oh, it's not
Yeah.
working. Shut it down. Let's like reset, and then everybody has
Restart.
to have,
Yep.
yeah, the perfect conditions. And it's like that's great and all, but that's not how life works. A lot of times you're not going to have the conditions you want. You could go into a game and Fortnite's your game, and then you start that match, Fortnite comes up, you're not available. Or worse, it comes up, you are available, but Fortnite just did a 100 gig update, and so now we're just going to skip Fortnite. So now you don't even get to play the game that you spent all this time mastering. Whereas again, in a regular tournament, that the whole thing shut down. Now you can't play in that tournament at all because you can't play the game that you all came there to play. So
Yeah.
it's understanding that adaptability is everything in
It's
really in
100%.
gaming, in life, but in this sport in particular, in the UEO, if you can't adapt the way
No,
FaZe Banks can and the other guy can't, like if you
it's
can't
over.
adapt, then you're done.
Yeah.
You're not. It's not gonna work out.
So what you're saying is, as gamers, we need to be multi-gamers, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
We may be variety gamers, not just a
yeah,
streamer, not just a content creator, but a variety gamer. And I'll say as a kid, that's why I grew up. I was a variety, I was a multi-sport athlete. What made my football better was track and powerlifting.
yep,
And so I have said this to some of my students when I was teaching and coaching at Lakeland University. I said to them that what I just said. I said, so when I play Halo and I did transfer over to, like you say, Valorant, or then if I play a game of Madden first before I play Halo, I could feel my fingers literally are more a little bit looser. I got to do in Halo because I just played a game of Madden where you got to do a whole lot of analog stick movement with juking, with hitting the B button, the spin move, and all that stuff. Stiff form with the A button, stuff like that. To get your hands kind of warmed up. But then also it's kind of that Madden movement that then transfers over to playing a shooter game.
Exactly.
And I was like, so that is what I'm talking about. Because I remember recruiting kids now, and then I always ask first question beyond the grade, what your GPA is, where you at ranked in your class. I said, what other games do you play? Because I'll know, okay, I'm there because they're a supersonic Rocket League player. But then I'm gonna say, hey, what other games do you play? And then they say Valorant, they say League of Legends. I'm like, ooh, Smash. I'm like,
Yep.
ooh,
Yep.
ooh, I got a baller.
Yeah.
Because
And another thing is like
they're just not so stuck in Rocket League. I could put them anywhere if I want them to as a coach. So, kind of what you're mentioning there a little bit. So
exactly. And the thing with Madden, like Madden's going to work on your decision making before you go into Valorant. So like,
yeah, it's
because
more
Madden's all
RTS than
decision
actually a
making,
sports
right?
game too.
Yeah,
It's more RTS.
exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting though, because you say like you need to be a multi gamer, multi genre gamer, but what we found is everyone already is. We have yet, so we've been doing this for 5 years. We've done a sign up every year, and when people sign up, they have to list all the games that they play at, that they consider themselves to be proficient or they play.
Yeah.
We've never ever had a person list only one game, let alone only one genre of games. Every person in history has always stated multiple genres and
Right.
multiple games within those genres. Like people enjoy gaming already. It's something it's one of the reasons we started this. Like
Mm-hmm.
there is no such thing as a Valorant player. No such thing.
No.
Find them.
No.
If you know of a single person that only plays Valorant, they've never touched anything else.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
I'll hold
rare.
my hands up. But it's
Yeah.
like, for the most part, it is the gamers are gamers. They just enjoy gaming. And so if
Mm-hmm.
they find a good game, they're gonna play it, right?
Yep.
Especially if it speaks to the skills that they already have in gaming. And so so that's where we don't believe we're asking you to do anything different than what you already do. We're just trying to shine a light on it. We just want to show the world what you already do and what you're already good at. So a lot of people come into the league and they have the skills already. They come in and
Mm-hmm.
they can do really well. And we've had some players that come in and absolutely dominate, but they're not pros. They're not pros in any other league. They just love gaming and they can adapt. So it's like you just never know.
Yeah, that's the mindset you got to have to be successful in the UEL, basically. So, been having a little audio issues here, so let's just hang up with us, hang in there with us, chat. So we got a few more questions here with my man Titus. So you kind of just talked about it already, the messaging. And so what would be the message you would like to send to fans, to followers of the Ultimate Gamers League? Or what's something that you want to tell them?
I want to tell them thank you for hanging in with us. Past 5 years, we've been grinding, and in the past
Hmm.
6 months, we've grown so much. Um, and I'm extremely thankful, man. I'm thankful to even have the opportunity to try and do something like this, let alone be successful at it. Just to try though, like is a blessing, and I'm so thankful for that opportunity, for the ability to get up and do this every day for the past 2 years, and this is all I've been doing for the past 2 years. Like that to me is such a blessing. And I couldn't do it if it wasn't for like that steady growth, people telling people about us, and letting the world know about end gamers, and that they exist, that you exist.
Right, exactly. And it's something, but it's like when you think about it, it's just now. I don't know what is going on with my microphone. It just has a brain of its own right now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get through it. Like you said, adjust. We're gonna keep
Yeah.
so um but no, it makes you, think about the games that you want to play and the games that you see out there that everybody else is playing. And be like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I'm this. I played that, or you know what, I'll try that game just to play it, check it out, and find out, man, you like it. It could be a RPG, MMO, and be like, man, I didn't even think I would like this game, but I do. I
Right.
love it.
Right.
Yeah. So it gets you out there and be adventurous, basically. And I say having that type of mindset, then for the ones that come in, like you say, the ones that come in and dominate, they don't have that a governor on them, having that in their head. Oh man, I only play this.
Right.
Don't have that governor on them. They coming in like, man, I play well. Throw whatever game you put in front of me. I'm gonna figure it out real quick and
Exactly.
make this competition very fun, or it's gonna be over very fast. So
Exactly.
one or the other. So you kind of hit on it already. So what's next up for yourself, the UEL, in the next 6 months to a year?
So a lot. We got a couple things that we're working on. We just purchased My Edmaster, which is an educational company that is they have a ton of technology and AI. It's run by Yale professor John Lito,
Hmm.
and he's going to head up UEL education. So we've been operating UEL education for about 2 years, but we haven't
Nice.
really pushed the needle forward as much as we would like to, just because we've been focused on the pro side. So it's great to kind of have somebody that's going to push that forward. And so John's going to do that. You'll be seeing a lot coming out from that, because we actually have a couple games that are being developed that are almost done.
Yeah.
Actually, they'll be
Nice.
play testing soon. So
Awesome.
educational games that we'll be able to get into the schools for standardized testing. And then we're working on, actually, for 2025. You may actually end up being a part of this, a
Yeah.
world tour. So like
Yeah.
and one mixtape, but for gaming.
Ooh.
Put together like a street team and travel from place to place. And so we've been talking to ASM Global and AEG to get all of the arenas set up for
Hmm.
all of the states and territories in the U.S. Kind of going from place to place and playing the local talent in that area to
Ooh.
see like who has the best gamers. And
Oh yeah.
so treating it like a street team, very cultural, going to
I
different
like it.
areas, working with like the local government, local restaurants, all that to kind of show us what this local area is like, what it's like for gamers, talking to those gamers, um, and then playing the best locals, right? And
Yeah.
seeing how they fare against the UEL street team.
Man.
And so something super exciting, 2025. That's what we're working on. Along with of course, we got season 9 $1 billion cash prize. No
Right.
big deal. Hey,
I like how you say that.
um,
No big deal.
yeah. Setting that up. So season 9 right around the corner. And I'm sure there's more, but that's
Yeah.
all I can remember right now.
Yeah. You got me hyped. You got me hyped for that that town to town competition. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
I can't tell what we can't wait till we have that conversation.
Yeah, because that's like a street team and one field, you know what I mean, on the tour
Wow.
bus, streaming the whole thing. So it's like, straight, 2,000 hours of streaming, where it's just they're
Hey.
playing different cities, they're traveling on the tour bus, sleeping, all of it, the whole thing. Um,
Woo.
so it's a really exciting thing, really good idea, and
Great
we're
idea.
very thankful to be even planning it. Like I said, it's just like, it's a dream. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. That's some good news for UEL, for yourself, and I'm part of it too, for y'all, for
Yeah,
myself as
yeah,
well, to be
exactly.
part of it. Like I say, and throw anything my way. I always tell you this. I always hit you up on the text message. Hey man, if you got some assets, anything you want me to post or retweet, anything like that, let me know when the next playoff weekend is. I'll make sure I co-stream it or something if I'm not able to make it there. Um,
Absolutely.
because I love coming out to Fredericksburg, Virginia. That's where they're located. Actually, the main headquarters is in Fredericksburg,
Yep.
Virginia, just an hour east of hour and a half east or so of the DC area, Virginia area. All the East Coast is compact on top of
Yeah,
itself, but it's not far. It's not far.
yeah.
So, all right, man. Do you got time to hang with us, or you got to jump or anything?
Now I can chill.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into my show. You've been on it before. You know how we do
Yep.
things here.
Yep.
We're gonna go into, since it's just myself and none of my co-hosts here, Rico and John. It'll just be me, so it'll go pretty fast. And then also to everyone, to yourself too, Titus. The audio, like I said, my microphone, my headset is doing its own thing today. So I'm just hanging on. So I'm gonna adjust as it goes in and out. So everybody hang on with us there. So we're gonna go into the next segment here, which is Quick Hit News Bite. All right, y'all. Let me get to what my quick hit news bite is today. And we're speaking of FGC. And speaking of games out there, so one of Metaverse best characters, which I did not know. I haven't played it enough to know this, but I played it just enough to get good at Batman, of course. That's my guy.
Yeah.
But one character, Velma from Scooby Doo, became its worst after this current relaunch of the game. So they had a big update for MultiVersus, I think, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I see a lot of gamers playing it again, and now they're finding out that Velma doesn't have she's been nerfed. She doesn't have all the buffness that she had last launch of the game. So right now, when MultiVersus, Warner Brothers crossover brawler hit in beta, so Scooby Doo's Velma was arguably the best fighter on the roster, like I said, which I had no idea. So 2 years later, the game is officially out, and Jinkies, of course, says they throw that in there. The queen has lost her crown and become one of the worst characters in the game to grace one of cursing. So the fall from grace has been so severe that tracking sites from Tracker Network report Velma is now the least picked character in MultiVersus. Is MultiVersus a game you ever thought about putting in?
We've thought about it. We talked to some of the developers of it. I yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. You run the show, so you could do it how you want to do it. So there you go. But it says also here, it says, but how did she get here, and what do fans think needs to be done to fix the situation? So players have reported that on some sites like MultiVersus subreddit, they have seen very little Velma since the game launched in 1.0. And while the game arguably has bigger problems, there's one fighter's balance after its rough relaunch. The stark drop from the top tier to the bottom of the ranking is cause for concern. Fans are saying Velma hit feels like it lacks the same impact as it had before, with her long range attacks being cited as the greatest victims of her nerf. And long range attacks, and you know this, Titus, very well. And you have a character in any fighting game that has that basically whole board attack capabilities, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Players will spam that to death, keep you at bay. So you know you got to try to do your best to get close in contact with your opponent, with your avatar out there on the map. Any game, Mortal Kombat has fighters that are that way. Scorpion, I say, is one of those range fighters, with his spear that he throws, or his rope and claw that he grabs people with. Get over here type situation. So I mean, even Eddie Gordo on Tekken, he's my favorite and one of my main characters, but he has that range with his legs, with his kicks, where when he gets going with that capoeira, it's a problem. It's hard to block, and only some moves are very say unblockable. And if you hit it just right, and I won't say no, not some moves. It's just you got to find that right moment to attack me while I'm in my combination. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be spamming the same one on you all day.
And that's the new Tekken in the new one.
Yeah, in both, in all the Tekkens, Eddie just has it to where when he gets going, he is a problem.
Yeah.
And for me, that's all I've used since like Tekken 3. That's how long I've been using Eddie. So, but I've learned other players too. I've learned Brian, Fury, or Brian, is it Gunn? Or Brian Gunn or whatever, Forest Law, and a few others, and messing around with other characters from time to time too, just to throw in somebody to be on my UEL mode. So I make sure I know everybody on this game so I don't get stuck in a hole. So back here to Velma, it says from the fans, it says she needs the effing megaphone back, and the light bulb has been effed up into Flowboard. So when you got gamers cussing in a Reddit, they're pissed.
Yeah.
They are not happy right there. Talking about what Velma's character cannot do with her megaphone and with her light bulb. So that was from Sticky Palms, who wrote that in Reddit. Side attack also feels bad. They did her so bad, bro. So yeah, they're not happy. So it says her megaphone changes have been a particularly pain point, and in the beta, the ranged attack would fire immediately and then gain power over time. So in 1.0, Vilma has to change up the attack before it fires, and its range has been shortened as well. So it's been from one of the fighters. It's been really weird. It's been weird being a projectile character. All of your projectiles and our melee range are melee range. So Mike, that was Mike the Rock. Mike rocks the boat on subreddit. The speech bubbles still go a ways, but good luck getting those to work when you can't paint them with the megaphone first. So there's the combination that I mentioned. There's combination that you try to set up, and if you can't get them, from the timing to the distance, it sounds like this is the distance thing. You can't get that distance that you really want with Velma in the game. It's gonna make you unhappy and maybe a winless, not so much win gamer, FGC player in that MultiVersus matchup right there. So, got any thoughts on
Interesting.
that, Titus?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I always find it to be funny when these games they have to continue to kind of nerf these characters. They release them, they give them a huge buff, and then once they're getting ready to release another character, they gotta nerf the one so that everybody stops playing that one, and then they're ready to pick up a new character and they'll buy the
Right.
next one. It's a genius plan or a genius strategy, but yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah. I like it. I like how you say I'm not a fan. Yeah. So yeah, and then right now they're not making a whole lot of fans. So hopefully players out there, I'll speak to you kind of like what Titus mentioned already. Hey, adjust.
Yeah,
Find another
that's what you gotta
character.
do.
You gotta adjust, find another character, or find another move that Vilma does and get really good at it. Find the
Yeah,
cheese. Okay. Find the cheese and you'll get
their
better at the game.
their peak players were jeez. So wait,
I,
does that make when did the
I think
game
it
come
was
out?
what's the name from Adventure Time? Was it some Eric? Is it Eric or something from Adventure Time with the sword?
Yeah, because they had so it looks like from Steam charts, they had an average of like 70 players in April, with their peak being 114,000 players. And that was
Wow.
back in, gosh, that was like 2 years ago.
And when it first came out, yeah, because I was playing it a lot then.
Yeah,
About the time when Multiverses came out,
yeah.
almost. It was right, probably a year after we met. And I remember a lot of people were using between Velma, but I didn't really face a whole lot of Velma players. I probably faced more Superman, and I didn't know Marvin the Martian was a good player as well. All of or Warner Brothers IP characters out there. You don't know Marvin the Martian, you haven't watched enough Bugs Bunny cartoons, man. You gotta get on it. So on that note, I'm gonna take it to one of our sponsors of the show here, real quick. Shout out to them, Sly. So play is the central part of life, whether digital or outdoors. Exploring your world is fun. Keep the good times rolling and support your play with Sly Boost, Sly Chill, and Sly Dream. So explore. So Sly Boost is like an alternative to Red Bull, and it's more healthier for you. I like to say that. I know Red Bull probably don't care, but I'm not with Red Bull. I'm with Sly. So there you go. But no, all good Red Bull, but Sly is my drink though. All right, let's get to the next segment. Here, the best thing of social media.
You're so dumb.
Got him!
Ain't nobody got time for that.
All right, here we go. Here we got that. We got that. And this is actually a pretty cool thing, and that we got going on here, Titus. I got a good friend of mine that I met Sure, we might have met the same time, same year we met. His name is Tommy Pham, and he has a son. He has a son and a daughter. But his son has a genetic disorder called UBA5, and that's a genetic disorder where it decapitates or it incapacitates a child from normal. Microphone just went dead. There we go. All right, so he's been at this for around, I would say, probably 2021. So about, and now he's been campaigning all over the United States. He's from Portland, Oregon. He actually works at Nike, and now he has gotten his way into cons. The last couple of years he's been at Evo. Now he's at DreamHack. He was at DreamHack Dallas just this past weekend. And I'll turn the audio on too for this to be heard. But the video's playing. Let me turn the audio on of them on stage at DreamHack Dallas. I don't know if the audio's coming through. Can y'all hear that?
No, I'm not hearing it yet.
And on a count of 3, say fight for rare. And I'm going to snap the picture.
You want me to take it so you can be in it?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want me to count backwards?
Yes.
So fight for rare. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Fight for rare.
So that's the name of the
Everyone
foundation
is
charity
ready.
that he's
We want to
made
face this
for
way and have everyone in the
other kids in
background.
the
Yeah, it
world.
would be awesome if
And
everyone's wearing
his
the
favorite game
wristband
is
and say
Mortal
care
Kombat
about
as well.
rare to put your
And
hands
now
up.
he
And
named
on a
his
count of
son
3, say fight
Raiden.
for rare. And I'm going to snap the
So
picture.
you go on
Want me to
Instagram,
take it so
you
you
can
can
go
be
to
in it?
Raiden.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want me to count backwards?
Yes.
So fight for rare. On a count of 3.
On the platform to advertise of what
2,
their daily lives are
3.
dealing with
Fight for
his son
rare.
having this genetic disorder.
Everyone is
UBA5.
ready.
So he reached out to me in an email through a friend, a contact back in 21, asking me if I could help support, bring him on the show and talk about it. And I was, and Titus, you know me, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I'm
Yeah.
here to support. And ever since then, he's been growing the following, getting the word out. He did a big thing with Midway, and some of the voices that did the voiceovers for NFL Blitz and NBA Jam. They were at Evo a couple years ago, and it was and some of the fighters that did voiceover and motion capture for the first Mortal Kombat. So what you go back to the 90s on that one. So you
Jeez.
had some of those actors and actresses that came into Midway, that came into Evo to promote the first time, and that was 2021. Now he's going to be hitting DreamHack this past weekend, then he's going to be at Evo again. I'm gonna try to meet him out there. Not try, I will be out there this July for Evo, and then the following week, I'm not sure if he's going to go to San Diego Comic-Con the following week right after Evo. I know I will be, but if he is there, I'm gonna be there to support too, to spread the awareness and keep this thing going, because his goal is to get to I think it's like he's right at $1 million now. He got to get to $4 million to get the government to make it a research project to where doctors can study it to find a cure. So that's his goal.
Wow.
Get that. And this disorder is affecting a lot of kids around the world, not just here in the United States, but all over the world. And so his goal is to get a cure for this, for his son, and for any kid that's affected with this genetic disorder. So that's one thing I was like, I'm all in. Just let me know what I can do and how I can help. I know I can see the wheels turning in your head already, Titus. He's like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how we can help and support.
Right.
Man. That's such a good story, such a good cause.
Everyone's wearing the wristband that say
Yeah.
care about rare.
So yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna always bring him up. I post them, I retweet, I share his posts. If you go over to fight for rare, it's fight_for rare, and then it's Raiden's journey. Those are the two Instagram accounts, and I believe they're on X as well. And not sure if they're on Facebook as well, but for Instagram and X, you go there, follow, find out all the information. They have a link tree. You could click that, go to the website, and I got on a t-shirt right now that I've been making sure I wear once or twice a week. This is one of their shirts. I believe they use the unicorn because it's a rare disease, obviously. So unicorn as their mascot. And but UVA5 is a disease that they're trying to obviously find a cure for. So reach out there, go to the Fight for Rare, follow, like, share, continue to spread the word about it, to support Tommy and his family to get through this and hopefully find a cure to this one day. So I was the best thing I saw on social media. I was like, oh man, I saw that. I'm like, I remember him talking about, man, we're trying to go to every con, go to DreamHack, go to Evo, go to Comic Cons around the country, go to video game conventions, as many as possible to get, because he knows that the gaming community is a community that will support behind a great cause like this. And then obviously him being a Mortal Kombat fan, naming his son after Raiden, one of the best, one of the really good characters on the game itself. So it just was a good conversation. He's been on here probably just as many times you've been on here. Titus been on here like 2 or 3 times already. So it'll be good one day. Hopefully y'all be able to meet and talk it and chop it up and find out other ways to bring awareness and do an event about bringing help to this genetic disorder. So
you said it's fight for
fight. So on Instagram is fight _ the number 4 and then rare, RARE.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. So yeah, let me go there. So yeah, go check that out. And before I forget, the last article that was on Kotaku.com, so you can go check that out. Finish that. Reading the article about Velma and what she can't do anymore on MultiVersus. And now next one up, one of my favorite parts of the show, game releases of the week. I have a fun one. A game I thought I was going to have like my co-host with, and they're going to talk about other fun games because this week is actually a good week of video game drops. So this one of many, I thought, like I said, my crew was supposed to be here. If they were going to be here, they were going to have other games to talk about. But this one is a fun one here. So here we go on game releases.
It's time for the game releases. Game releases.
All right, here, let me get to my video. Here we go. Boom, boom. Share that. Get that going. Put that there. All right, this is.
Welcome to the Spora.
This is Star Wars Hunters. Came out yesterday. It's on Switch, iOS, and Android. The developer is Zynga. That's the action game. Is the rating for the to join the greatest hunters across the Star Wars galaxy on the planet of Bespar, where high-stakes competitions await them in the arena. Engage in thrilling third-person combat to dominate your opponents in a range of adventurous backgrounds from both the old iconic Star Wars worlds, or Mos Eisley, or Battlestar, or Death Star.
The feed is live.
And everybody's gonna love this next 3 words right here. Free to play.
Show is about to begin. Are you ready?
I put in for it, where if you go to the website, you could log in and put your
Welcome to the Spora.
if you affiliated with the game and all that fun stuff, similar to the games like Fortnite and Call of Duty stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, the Star Wars is going down the kind of the FGC/team fighting game.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Especially, of course, with Mandalorian, you gotta have the guys. So having a good series, not a great, it's a great series of movies, characters. They have, just like Warner Brothers, just the unrivaled roster of people that they could download into this game. So I can imagine, where this is going to go. Already having Mandalorian and a few other characters, Stormtroopers, iconic as well. But to have more and more down the line where they just introducing these 8 or 9 characters right now, this game's gonna get interesting. What's your thoughts on this, Titus?
Yeah, it looks like a fun game. It looks like a fun fun concept. You said it's on iOS?
Yeah, it's on phone. It's on Android, and that means cell phone action.
Heck yeah!
So they're going into the mobile gameplay, and I know that's been y'all don't have no mobile games.
Not yet, no, but we're getting ready to.
Not yet. I like it.
Yeah,
it's
we're getting ready
mobile
to.
game and mobile professional esports has been around for about at least 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, mobile games opens up to it opens up to a whole new category of gamers because I mean, primarily people are playing on mobile right now. So,
so to have this game and being a big IP that it is, Star Wars, so you got, like I mentioned, with the rosters of players that could get DLC'd into this game, and then other I say spaceships, the planets, the boards, the maps, planets that have inhospitable living an environment. I mean, yeah, there you go. That's all I'm trying to say. An environment, inhospitable environment to live on or to fight on. They have all that. So this will be interesting where this game goes, but I'm super excited. Star Wars 100, and it's free to play, so I'm downloading that today. Didn't get it. I saw it late last night. I was setting up the Ryan show, and I was like, oh man. You could go to this website and then put if you have a Twitch channel, if you're a content creator, fill out to be an affiliate for this to make sure when you stream this game, you get you get drops and everything while you're streaming this game. So they have that on the website, which they thought about this and they've done it the right way in terms of marketing this, and no surprise there as well.
Yeah,
so
that's a really creative way of doing it.
Yep. So real creative and smart about doing it, knowing to get the more, like we were talking about with UEL, what you do, and I mean your team of people and social media are doing to get the word out about UEL. Same thing here with a game that needs no introduction. Once you say Star Wars, people know, but it's always, you always still got to put the work in to get the idea out there to people.
Yeah, you got to get the attention of everybody.
100%. Get the eyes on the prize here. And so this really lead us into our last segment of the show here, which is what's on stream.
Row, row, row your boat gently up the... sorry. Excuse me. It's time for What's on Stream.
All right, and what's on stream, Titus, this week? And chat. And Titus, you haven't been in a while, so we've been recapping the show you might have watched. I don't know, but on Hulu, Shogun. That's on Hulu. We're on our okay. Really, you talking about, because you surprised me with your game of choice when you said Fallout. So between that, are you watching a series of Fallout?
Oh yeah, best series ever.
Yeah. But this is the one series. This is another series you might want to check out as well. It's called Shogun. It has been actually redone 3, maybe 4 times in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. I know 70s and 80s for sure. I'm not sure in the 90s or the early 2000s, but it has been remade here. So let me get.
I can't hear anything.
See, there you go. Microphone acting weird.
There we go.
So no, there's no audio on the video. We do hear series. Real quick, for everybody that's new to the chat and new to this recap, like my man Titus here. This is a TV show where it talks about the shoguns of Japan fighting for territory, fighting for power, and just going through the stories that are intertwined in this legacy here. And so where we're at right here in episode 7, A Stick of Time, is that one of the lead shoguns, Lord Toranaga, they're doing a flashback here of when he was a kid. When he was 12 years old, he conquered his first territory. And back in these days, so this is authentic, true storytelling, and he brought it in. The actor that plays Toranaga has been aware of this TV series for years and couldn't wait to grab it himself and to direct it, kind of rewrite it, and bring the authenticity to it, being of Japanese heritage. And so back then, it was honorable to die in war. It was honorable to, be a leader, and you had to abide by the rules. And so in his first battle, he won at 12. He was able basically to behead. This is the Lord that lost his battle to Toranaga. So in this scene here, this is where this Lord is admitting defeat. I think gamers need to kind of I'll say don't go to the death side of it, but take heed of when you lose, just lose honorably. Don't be all crazy and want to start a fight. You lost or you lost the battle. He they didn't show it there, but he basically stabbed. That's how they did it back then. The episode starts that way, but then goes into where they're at currently, and currently where they're at is that as you see on there, he right now is being falsely impeached because of him taking in, they call it a Jin, a barbarian. Everything he has done to help the Toranaga's land into winning, basically. Little battles here and there throughout the series in the 6-7 episodes that we watched so far, Titus. So it's been little battles. But then, of course, with the battles, you have the storyline of deception and lying to one another's faces and infidelities, things of that nature that are going on throughout all the episodes. And so Moriko, who's right there, and that's the barbarian. That's the agent. Agent, they call it AI or ANJIN for barbarian. And so his name is Lord, not Lord. Oh no, it is Lord Blackstone, and he is a naval guy. And so this has been the war that's been leading up this whole 6-7 episodes, where Toranaga had to rejoin up with his brother, who stood up just in that last scene there, and fight a battle that they most likely they know they were going to lose because they were outmanned. They didn't have enough men to go fight this, because back then a person that was going to win a war is the person with the most soldiers, basically.
Right.
And so it wasn't about technology. The technology back then was between a katana and cannons and things where you throw boulders over, where you try to smother or take the heads off of your opponents. And so the other storylines going on here, you got Maniko, who is the translator. Her husband, we thought, had died, right? He had an honorable death in war. And so with knowing that her husband was dead, she's obviously single woman now. She actually hooked up with Blackstone, right? But unknowing that her husband, in the next episode, her husband comes back and he's alive. So you're dealing with that little curveball on their side of it, right? And so Toranaga gave Blackstone a house, so he made him a lord, a Hamamoto, basically, granted him power, a little bit of power to run his own household in his territory. That's Toranaga's brother, who's back from war, and meeting up with his brother. Like I said, they're going to go fight a war they know they're going to lose because they don't have enough men. And so you got so many different storylines, and this is the last episode. So it's always, if you watch a series of anything, the second to last episode is where there's a ton of bloodshed, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's like 5 things going on at one time, and then the last episode, the finale, either tells all or tells nothing, and then get you ready set up for season 2. But I think
Mm.
this series has been greenlighted for season 2 and 3, so it's already moving forward. So we know it's going to be 3 seasons of this. That means it's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of bloodshed, but a lot of also dialogue. It's a closed caption, so you got to read the titles because they do Japanese. They speak Japanese most of the time. So it's been interesting for me watching this series and making sure I stay on top of it. I can't watch and play a video game, or I can't watch and do anything else where I got to be 100% focused on this series here. So from what I've heard, what you've heard so far, Titus, what's your thoughts on this series so far?
It's reminded me of like it's got like a Game of Thrones feel where there's like 20 different storylines going on all at once, but all of them are just as like intriguing. And but yet it's got this like samurai. I love anything samurai. Like I love anything samurai, or like I'm big into like samurais or like knights. So yeah, I'm into it. I definitely think I'd love to watch this. Anything that I have to read though, I don't know, man. I might have to wait for the English
Yeah,
translation.
there. So in this scene here, this is towards the end of episode 7, where this is kind of the hours before battle, and that's Toranaga's one of his sons there, and knowing that he's going to go to battle, he's unaware of the head count in terms of how many troops they have or don't have, but he's also been looking up to his uncle that's been back visiting, and knowing that he's been a great warrior, so thinking that I could take after my father and be a good warrior as well. So he has that going on, and then this scene here, they have so in Japan what they call it a tea house, where the women of the night, if I could say it like that, live and work. Okay, they call it a tea house over in Japan, and so one of the tea house ladies, if I might be wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Is one of the guys' girlfriend, which I'm like, that sucks.
Mm.
Your girlfriend is working in there. That's no fun. Or somebody you're fond of or that you like is working there, and she has have basically been in what's the word? Well, how can I say this nicely and PG-13ish? He hooked up with Blackstone. He hooked up with Blackstone, so and he knows this, and of course it's like, oh man, I said this is going all so bad. It's for so many ways. And these guys who I'm talking about, they're all supposed to be working together, right? So they're all in the same camp. And so this is going to get real interesting when you have a war about to come and everybody's has different feelings about one another because my girl then hooked up with you and blah, and other this it's getting messy. That's all
Right.
I will say. Getting very, very messy. So Shogun episode 7. The whole plot of the episode is outplayed by alliances in Osaka. Toranaga is forced to carve out a new deal with a long lost family member, which is his brother, that showed up there, like I told you at the start of the episode. But then, like I said, all the storylines, like 5 or 6, even more Mariko, from Mariko's storyline to her husband coming back to now Toranaga's son right there, who's going to go into battle that may lose his life, and he's aware of this too. So you got all these conflict, these storylines that's about to come to a head in the season finale of this series that started back in, I believe it originally started in March. So I mean, it's been over for a while, but for people that have not been watching it and been keeping it up to date or keeping in line with what we're doing here on the Gamers Lounge, appreciate you. Microphone acting up. One thing you like, Titus, like you said, you love the samurai. So there's a lot of beheadings with the katanas going on. Which has been on camera. They've showed probably close to a dozen beheadings since episode 1. Yeah. and since episode 1 till episode 7. So they've been taking the heads off for sure. Um, so, but you know certain characters won't lose their heads because obviously their main characters like Blackstone, like Mariko, like Toranaga, maybe other lords in the vicinity may come up short in the life department, but others will definitely be on for all 3 seasons of Shogun that will be showing up on Hulu here. So this has been the series. This is the episode of this week. So episode for me in forecasting what's going to go on in episode 8. I say a lot of battling. Obviously, there's a war coming, and unfortunately they already know they're on the weaker side because of not enough soldiers, and then obviously a lot of deceptions be coming, people's way, unfortunately, where they're going to find out the truth of what their significant other or friend has been doing behind closed doors, and it's going to come to light. And if it doesn't come to light in episode 8, the finale, it's going to come to light in season 2 later down the line. So this has been Shogun recap for myself. It's a good series. If you haven't started watching it, please do. And you got from today to next Wednesday to binge it if you want to get caught up with us here on the show and able to watch it next week, or able to talk about it next week with myself here on the Gamers Lounge. And the Gamers Lounge next week, I'll be back in Nebraska, so we'll be at a different location there in Nebraska. So I'm super excited about that episode. We're on episode 215 now. That'll be 216, and that's my birthday number. 216 is my birthday number, February 16th. Oh, that's kind of ironic. I'm like, oh. So binge it now. You can catch up for next week and talk about Shogun finale season, episode 8, season 1 of Shogun. So I appreciate y'all tuning in and listening for the recap and everything. We got what's coming up this week. Something's this weekend. I had something in my head to mention. Oh, I knew I was forget it. It was something.
We got playoff games this weekend though.
Oh yeah, we got NBA starting tomorrow, Thursday. Got the Mavs and the Celtics. But it was something else. It was a game, something gaming wise.
The UEL has playoffs though.
Is it this weekend?
This weekend, yeah. We have playoffs.
That's right. No, that's what it is. That's right.
Yeah.
Over in DC area, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, we have the playoffs and then the finals on Father's Day at Capital One.
Yeah, and I looked at my wife. She said, "Don't even ask."
Yeah.
You better be home. I was like, "Yeah, babe, I'm gonna be." I was like, "Yeah, Titus ass." She's like, "You know, you're not going nowhere." I said,
Yeah.
"I know." But there'll be
Worth
other
the shot.
weekends. Yeah, for sure. There'll be other weekends for the UEL that I'll be able to come in and support, and I can't wait till the launch of the tournament, state to state to state, traveling around. When y'all hit Texas, ooh, that's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
I might have to join on. I don't know. I might have to jump
see.
on it. I might have to jump on this thing because I like in that type of competition. I it's like it takes me back to my playing days. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel that gets me going. Because I wasn't a trash talker. I don't get in people's faces. I just let my actions do all the talking. And then nobody, especially video games, nobody I'm gonna have fear of. It's just me, like we talked about earlier, us knowing the game, me knowing the game.
Exactly.
If I know the game, I know the cheese moves or whatever I need to do to win, I'm gonna figure it out real fast. And so, whew, that got me. I mean, I'm geeked. It doesn't look like it, but I'm super excited when you said it. Because I know a lot of the guys there at the UEL that do trash talk, and for the ones that can't take it, especially for the teams that are going across the paths of the UEL gamers,
Yeah.
that understand the trash talking and it's like breathing for them. It's like in one ear, out the other. Like you say something, it doesn't even affect them. They're like, man, I'm about to drop you anyway. Boom, 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 boom. So that's the beautiful part. That's gonna be fun to see. Y'all traveling around the US competing and then setting a tone to pro gamers around the country and around the world. Because y'all gonna set a tone. I don't think y'all realize that. You're gonna set a tone. Sure.
I'd love to set that tone, man. I'd be honored to set that tone. So
yeah, you definitely gonna send a message. Send a message. Because that's something I've always said to my gamers that I coach. And I said, look, for one, if you trash talking, you better be that dude or that girl, because you better back it up. You better be able to cash that check. Because if your butt can't cash it, you're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it in the chat. Or you're gonna hear it from the person that just beat you. You're gonna hear it. So you better be able to back it up with good gameplay and be winning. So that's I can't wait for that. Let me know what you need me to do there. I always ask that question, Titus, man. So again, appreciate you coming in for an update on the UEL, the Ultimate Endgamers League, a league of gamers that are fearless, that are tough to beat, and they're fun to be around. Because I've been around you guys for the last 3 years, and every time I come out to Fredericksburg, it's a good time. And I see new faces. I see young faces too in there balling out. I'm like, that's like, how are you? You like 13? And you in here balling? Okay. Nice. I like it. So building out good well-rounded individuals in that spot out there in Fredericksburg, but growing too, right? It's growing. So I'm super excited about that and happy for y'all. And like I said, thank you again for coming on today and hanging out and letting all the new folks on here that have been into the Gamers Lounge since you left, but giving them the understanding of what the UEL is and what the Ultimate Gamers do and who they are, stuff like that, man. All right.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. And so I got all your socials right there for UEL on X, on Insta, on YouTube, on Twitch. Are y'all on Kick?
Yeah, same at UEL Esports.
Okay, it's Kick on there too. So yeah, go there, follow, share, retweet, watch the videos, watch all the information going out there. And if you are an esports pro, whatever game you play, you'll find out real fast where you stand. Like all end gamers find out when their first weekend is there. And don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid of it either. It's coming. It's coming. Just so know that. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna jump up out of here. What you got this week, man?
I'm done. All right, man. Appreciate you for having me.
Yep. All right, Titus. Talk to you later. Got the chat. All right, average historian, Alfie, Ikeba, A-Train, Poppy. Hope if you're still in the chat and everybody else out there, we'll be back here. Same day, but different time. It'll be a little bit in the evening, and we'll have a new location that we'll be streaming out of. Not just for that day, not all the time, but we'll be at a different location next week. I'm super excited to be where I'm going next week to have the Gamers Lounge. So it'll be in my hometown. I'll just say that it'll be in my hometown, and it's going to be at a fun spot. It's kind of where we're going to be. Actually, next week was going to be the College World Series. So if you know where the College World Series is at, I'll be there on a Wednesday night, maybe even a Thursday too, but definitely Wednesday night I'll be there, and you can come fly by and check me out. I do a little hint there. So there you go. I like doing that stuff. But thank you for jumping in today's podcast. Hope everyone had a great time. Hope you got educated and have fun talking about video games, talking about the topic going on with MultiVersus, man, and Velma is nerfed. A lot of people don't like that. So, hey, but gamers, you got to deal with. What did I do that for? I meant to close that out. Remove. Stop. There we go. All right. So I'm out. Let's get going. I got to do this. Turn the music. There. Yeah, I go here. Follow. Let me put this up real quick. Put that down there. Follow me down there. Instagram, X, TikTok. I gotta edit that. I gotta put X. Oh. There we go. There we go. All right, let's get up out of here. See y'all later. Peace. Hang loose.